Hey guys, welcome to Coffee Talk. It's a new day. I hope your day is going fantastic. Welcome to my channel. On this video, on this episode, I'll be making an in-depth review of the iPad Pro. Now, obviously, I'm not going to talk about specs or how fast is the iPad or whatever it is. I'm going to more concentrate on the day-to-day functionality of this device and for what it's meant to be used for. At least I'd like to think. And there are a lot of YouTubers obviously looking in the direction of to compare it with the Mac OS system, which I'm not going to do because it's from the beginning. I'm going to say that it's not comparable. It's a totally separate device, and it's meant to be like that. So in this video, let's go over a few things. Yeah. So this is the iPad Pro 2018. It's space gray, 64 gig, and it's the Wi-Fi version only. I had a lot of how can I say, I thought a lot about it, and I was thinking whether to choose the cellular or the Wi-Fi. I myself travel quite a bit, and I realized that if you do travel, there are not many places where there is no Wi-Fi. Now, fair enough, public Wi-Fi's tend to be not safe, but if you have a decent VPN, you can get away with that instead of paying, I think, the extra $100 or whatever it is for a cellular version. If that said, that if you do need a cellular version, I mean, go right ahead. If you find the need, I personally think that if your phone has a SIM card, why carry two SIM cards around? Just hotspot it, and get a battery pack if the phone dies. Obviously, that if you have an iPhone, the battery is not very good at all, and you will need to get a battery pack if you're on a personal hotspot, anything. A lot of people find the use for this iPad, or iPads in particular, through either one of two routes. It's either for work or media consumption. I myself find it extremely difficult to watch anything here. Obviously, I do have Netflix and what have you, but other than that, I find it very hard to watch. I prefer just watching on a big screen or whatever it is, watching on a decent sized TV. My neck tends to pain. So I mostly use it for my university work, for my studying, for and any note taking. I take a lot of notes on a day-to-day basis when making lists and just drawing and scribbling, and this is perfect. I chose to get the Apple Pencil, and I must say, if you're getting the iPad Pro, get the Apple Pencil, because it's amazing. It's an amazing device. It's worth the price. This is one of the few things that are worth the money. It really does work seamlessly, and it's comparable to a pen in a lot of ways. And the best part is you don't waste any paper. It's good for the environment. It's always good. And you can erase, so that's the perfect thing. So this is the new Apple Pencil. Obviously, you do have a choice of getting it engraved or whatever it is, but I mean, it's perfect. It's good size. You can just hold it like this. It's a bit thicker than a normal pen, but I mean, if you're used to normal bit of large pens, I mean, you'll be fine with this. And well, it's very responsive, and it also depends on the application. I find myself to be using Notability a lot more than the Apple application, which is Notes. Notability for me is more responsive. Okay, so I'll come to that later. A few things on this here. Why I won't compare it to the Mac OS system is because you must remember that Apple will never make an iPad with the Mac OS. That will really kill the MacBook sales, and people will start buying the iPad. So what I suggest is, if you need an iPad, and if you think you need one, there are a few basic things to consider beforehand. Are you really going to use it, or are you going to keep it because it looks good? I mean, many people buy it because it looks good. I myself, previously, I used to buy iPads because they look good. I didn't really find the need for them. But as I started using this iPad, and I really thought hard about it, what I'm going to use it for. So if you're using it for studying, if you're a student, brilliant. Make your notes fantastic. If you're going to use it for media, that's up to you. You can do that. But if you want it to video edit and to work like a computer, it isn't going to do that. Although it's capable, but the iOS does not allow it to do it. So what I would suggest is get a computer and get an iPad, and decide what divides where. Decide what work you want to do on your computer and what work you want to do on your iPad, and then weigh the pros and cons and then get it, rather than wasting money and just going ahead and buying the iPad. If you can do everything on the computer, all your work, and you want to do media consumption on the iPad, perfect. If you only want to travel with your iPad, perfect. If you only want to do studies on your iPad, perfect, and keep your computer for video editing, or if you want to watch a movie now and then, or if you want to do like really like difficult work like a thesis or typing or whatever it is, it's fundamentally better on the computer. And Mac OS obviously allows you to open files, and it's more open source, unlike the iPad, which is very tied up. It's almost like a big iPhone in a way. That's very common you hear, you know. Another thing is that if you have another iPad, a previous generation iPad, to be honest, most, if not all, iPads are exactly the same. The only difference is the screen, maybe the screen clarity, the displays, and a few nitty gritties of the other than the style, the great changes of the style. There's not much more you can compare, you know. If you have an older generation iPad, my opinion is anything above the iPad mini 2 and above, like the iPad Air, the first generation iPad Pro, whether it's the 12-inch, whether it's the 9, I think the 9.8 inch or whatever it is, keep that and don't get this. If you do not have an iPad and you're starting off from new, by all means, get this iPad. It's a perfect buy. But if you have another iPad, do not waste your money on this. Let's wait till you have a look and you have a decide and you have a think on more iPads to come, and then you get the most out of your previous iPad, because I can guarantee you, once you bring this home, it does the same exact thing as the other iPad. So that being said, let's get into it. Obviously, I'm gonna, if you follow me on my Instagram, Tech Talk 97, I'm gonna review this case. I'm gonna show this case. I recently bought it. I'm not exactly too sure the name of the company. It's a bit tricky, but anyway, if you have a look at this, it locks and it's rather safe, and you can put your Apple Pencil in as well. And it's one of the few cases that I've researched that actually charges once you put your Apple Pencil in, and obviously just take it out. That's perfect. Okay, so guys, yeah, let's look at like what's good about this iPad. For one is it does not have your fingerprint scanner, and that is a downfall for me in a way, because I tend to look at my iPad from a very close range and the camera doesn't always pick it up. But it's not a bummer. It's fine. It is what it is. Put the code in and go for it, you know. Okay, so let's compare first of all the Apple Pencil, because the Apple Pencil is the best damn device that Apple makes, best accessory that Apple makes, in my opinion, because it's worth it. It's one of the few Apple devices that are worth it. Apple normally, the accessories are not that good. It's better to go for third party, but in terms of the Apple Pencil, I highly recommend it. Okay, so let's see how responsive is the Apple Pencil. So this is on Notes, on the Apple app Notes. So we're just gonna go for it, and we're gonna have the pen function, yeah. So if I put here, okay, so as you can see, it is very responsive. Obviously, the iPad Pro 2018 itself is very delicate, and it has a smaller form factor than the previous generation iPads. If you guys heard about the Ben Gates situation, but I mean, to be honest, if you handle it with care, if you treat it well, it's gonna be fine. Don't try and bend the device. And it has a bit of big bezels, but I mean, that's fine, you know. That's picking, that's nitty gritty picking. The screen clarity is fantastic. I'm not one for specs, you know. There are a lot of guys that say the specs on this is so brilliant and that, but how does it work in day-to-day use? What's good about it? Is it capable of doing what it's supposed to do? And the answer is yes. It's capable for media, it's capable for work, and all around it's a brilliant device. Yeah, I would highly recommend it, and you would not be wasting your money if you don't have a previous iPad and you want to get this, although it's a bit on the pricey side. Yeah, I suggest getting this in the wireless Wi-Fi only, sorry. And 64 gig, 128 gig, it's up to you guys. I myself don't use a lot of memory, so I bought the 64 gig, and it's a lot cheaper. I have a MacBook for that, and I'll be doing a review on that in the coming days. But yeah, I mean, thanks for checking out my video, and if you like it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any thoughts, questions, queries, comments, whether you like it or whether you didn't like it, please leave it down below, and I'll be happy to answer them and anything. And don't forget to follow my Instagram on Tech Talk 97. See you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.